Question number 16 is something you've done very similar before. We're looking for which functions are going to be f of x and f negative x. So if we're looking for the inverse, remember that we're looking for the original and its inverse. And I'm only going to help you cross off one of these. I'm going to tell you now that whenever they're asking about the inverse function, it's got to be a function, which means it needs to pass the vertical line test. So if I do a vertical line and it touches it in more than one spot, it's not a function, so it cannot be D. Now, in order to decide whether it's A, B, or C, I want you to remember that you're going to be labeling 2 points and then switching those coordinates. You're going to switch the x and the y coordinates to find its inverse. So I want you to pick 2 points on every one of the graphs, and then when you switch them, see if it lands on the other one that's drawn. Question number 17 is the next one that we're actually going to skip. Okay, so we're going to skip this one for now. It's not one that I want us to have to deal with at the moment. Question number 18. Okay, question number 18, we're given an equation and we're asked to figure out which of these graphs represents g of x, where g of x is negative 2 f of x. Okay, well, let's start with f of x. Let's start with the one they gave us. They gave us square root of x minus 3, which coincidentally, if you type it in your calculator, gives you answer choice A. Okay, that means the answer is not A because they didn't ask us what f of x is. They gave us f of x. They want to know something about g of x. Well, here's the equation we have for f of x. And all they're doing differently here is they're putting a negative 2 in the front of our entire f of x. So now I'm going to replace answer choice C and tell you it's not C. And keep in mind here that I put a negative 2 in the front of a parentheses for the original f of x. The original f of x was square root of x minus 3, just like this. And if I see the graph here and I use menu 5.1 to find a starting point and another point that's on this line, I see I get 0, 6, and 4, 2, and only one of these two graphs looks just like this and has these exact same coordinates, and the answer then is answer choice D. Question number 19, I'm going to have you do. Remember that whenever you see the word system of equations, your instinct needs to be menu 3.2 because those solve systems of linear equations. And you have 3 equations, so that should be sufficient information for you to solve it using your calculator. You're doing a calculate, not graphing. Question number 20 is a graphing equation, but it doesn't have to be. Instead of you going to the trouble of typing in 4 equations into your calculator, you can do a lot just by knowing the vertex. So the vertex here is negative 2, 3. And now I'm going to leave you here telling you that if you know the vertex, you should be able to find out which of these equations has the correct vertex just by looking at it. But if you're not able to, then you're going to have to graph every single one and use menu 5.1 and check that it has the correct vertex. And if more than one of them has the correct vertex, you would have to pick a second point and use menu 5.1 on that to also see that it's the correct equation. Okay. Last question. Okay, and it's a doozy. Okay, it's one we haven't done, and the method is not always ideal, but I'm going to help you at least eliminate some options and show you one way that I would solve this question. We have an inequality, right? And what I'm going to say here is we have an inequality, so whenever we're going to graph this thing right here. And what I'm going to tell you though is that whenever I see these less than or equal signs, the x is wedged between them. So when I see this symbol twice, it's double. It means that it's going to be shaded in the middle. So when I graph this in a second, you're going to graph this in a bit, we're going to shade in the middle. That tells me that it has double less than or equal to signs. If it does not shade in the middle, okay, and my answer is supposed to be one of the ones that say the word or, then that's because the graph was going to give me shaded on the left side and on the right side. It's going to make a lot more sense right now when you see the video, when I actually graph this to decide whether it's going to be shaded on in the middle or whether it's going to be shaded on the left side and the right side. And again, inequalities will always require graphing. Okay, lower the volume. So remember, you delete the equal sign, and we're going to go straight to relation. So I can type out the equation exactly the way I see it. 2x squared plus 5x plus 21 greater than or equal to 8x squared plus 15. And notice that I crossed off C and D more or less. And the reason being is because it's going to be shaded in the middle. You see right here, it's shaded in the middle, which tells me I need double the less than or equal to signs with the x in the middle. If it was shaded on the left and the right, I would need the word or. And now I'd use menu 5.1. Sorry, the video's going faster than I expected. I use menu 5.1, and I get this coordinate here, negative 0.667, which I'm going to label here. Okay, negative 0.667. And over here, notice that right there, maybe I should go back. Okay, notice right there that it's between the 1 and the 2. That's at 1.5. So let's keep those numbers in mind, 0.667 and 1.5. And let's type in these fractions. You hit Control Enter to get a decimal out of it. So the 2/3, and it's actually a negative 2/3 here. So 2/3 and negative 2/3 gives me 0.6667 like it did in the calculator when we did menu 5.1. And if I type the other fraction in my answer choices, 3 divided by 2, and hit Control Enter, I get 1.5. So remember on the image that it was first negative 0.667 and then positive 1.5. So the answer is going to be negative 2/3 and then the 3/2. You got to have it in the correct order, otherwise the answer is wrong. So the correct answer here is B. Sorry for the slightly longer video for this last stretch, but hey, we're done. And the next packet coming up is going to be you working on it yourself. No videos, no packets, no notes, just you, calculator, and a pencil to get ready for that ACP coming up. Good luck.